Good evening, ladies. Good evening, and welcome to our second edition of Pause and Glow. I'm Josie Harris, the curator of Black Fella Spa and Wellness here in Atlanta, Maryland. People ask me to stop saying Washington, D.C., but I won't. Um, I am so excited to have you guys here. Our crowd is growing. I'm super, just thrilled to see everybody here online. So just so you guys know, this is like an open conversation, a completely judgment-free forum and situation. You can have your camera on if you'd like, camera off if you'd like. You can drop concerns, questions, and ideas in the chat if you would like to. But this is a place where we just want to like normalize the conversations about menopause and get some answers from some professionals and people who have been operating in this space and also going through the thing of peri, post, and menopause so that we can get some real, solutions and answers around it, right? So again, welcome to everyone. Today we have on our panel some of our Bella Spa sisters from around the country. And what's amazing, again, these are women who are in the health and wellness field, and they're at different vantage points, let's say, of treating and easing the effects of menopause, perimenopause, and postmenopause to us. So let's start our conversation. Should we start with introductions? So Dr. Angelia Honorea, she's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And she actually has, Dr. Angelia, let you tell people who you are. I'm up here about to do your whole bio, but this lady is an active military partner, mom. It's stupendous. And she has some very, very specific specialties that I really wanted her to share with you guys. So take it away. There you go. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. You could have carried on with it. I appreciate you, Josie. Josie is my coach, Black Bella coach in body contouring and really and truly just business overall. But however, I am Dr. Angela Honore. I am a nurse practitioner, doctor in nursing practice here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm CEO of Palace for Healthy Living. We do, like you said, we do a number of things here, but tonight, we're going to talk about pause and glow. And it has really become my passion with hormone therapy, hormone replacement therapy, whatever you want to call it, but really optimizing hormone. That has become one of my passions since I became certified back in May. So Josie, is there anything else you would like for me to say as far as, am I going straight in?
We can go straight in. And again, guys, if you have any questions, anything you've been curious about, anything you're wondering about, please drop it in the chat, or you can just jump right in. Again, we're having an open conversation. But what I do want you guys to know, especially about Dr. Angelia, she's super humble. As I said, active military. She might jump out on this call and put on her fatigues and fly out right now. You never know. But she also has a general medical practice as one side of her business. And then she also has her spa and wellness center where she does a lot of the advanced modalities, skin treatments, body treatments, and then again, the hormone replacement therapy and a number of other things. And it's all about the numbers for practitioners like Dr. Angelia. But what's interesting is you have someone now who's on the side of the medical scope of it, where it's a general practice. And then on the kind of like homeopathic, looking at you as a whole human being, looking at your levels, numbers, labs, balancing, and figuring out where deficits are, and then giving you real solutions. Not a lot of doctors do that. In our industry and in our country, we are trained to treat symptoms. When you go in and you say, I'm hot, like for me, they gave me antidepressants. I was like, I don't really feel depressed, but if it's going to help me not feel like I'm about to, run around the block 10 times, then maybe I should take it. But there's a lot with this process that we just don't know. And one thing that we learned from our first chat, guys, is a lot of us don't realize what the signs are. We don't know if we're peri, we don't know if we're post. And also, I think we should take a step back and let Dr. Angelia even explain the stages of menopause first, because people weren't here for even that clean and clear definition.
Yes. So, I mean, to go deep into it, I'm going to go as deep as I possibly can on this 1 hour or however many hours we're on here. But menopause started, and it's not even menopause. We're going to call it just a pause. Okay. So it started when we reach age 30. Okay. We are born with all the hormones that we need. And it starts at 30 depleting itself. All right. So if as a woman, let's say a woman, if you're a woman and you're 30 years old, you have a regular menses, by the time you're 40 years old, you've lost a good percentage of your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, right? But we have well more than just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone as a hormone as a whole. We have to treat the whole picture. Okay. We don't just treat one. Once we start treating, when we start seeing that, hey, you're having all these different symptoms like weight gain that you just cannot get rid of, all right? Hair thinning, dry skin, depression, anxiety. You're having let's say hot flashes. Some people don't develop hot flashes until they're well off into their 60s, right? But when we talk about menopause, we start at pre, that's in the ages of 30. We start at peri. Peri is just a little bit around it. I do a whole slew of labs. It's this huge panel that I do so that I'm looking at the big picture, trying to figure out what is going on with this particular person and what do we need to optimize. And then after peri, we go into menopause. But menopause does not take place until you are a year absent. I'm talking about 12 months free of a menses with no breaks in between, no breaks. So that is where we talk about, going into full blown menopause, but that usually doesn't happen until your mid 50s. And some people are medically induced, and have to, you go into menopause that way. But these people, I'm just going to say, are not having their hormones replaced when they're medically induced. Okay. So as a female, we produce estrogen, we produce testosterone, we produce progesterone, right? If we're producing estrogen, by the time we reach menopausal stage, that is our, reproductive stage is completely gone, right? So we're not producing estrogen anymore. It's just whatever's there is there. And because of that, we're depleted by the time we're age 60. And on top of that, one of the saddest things that I learned during my training and certification was that women end up being eight women out of one man end up having Alzheimer's disease from low hormone levels. And I'm talking about hormone levels as far as testosterone also. It's not just a man hormone, it's a people's hormone. It's for men and women. We're born with both. And so in this time frame, because we're losing our estrogen, which is our protector, it's bind to all the receptors, pretty much in the body. Testosterone bind to the receptors. Thyroid. Okay, we'll get to thyroid in a minute because I get excited when I start talking about this stuff.
But what I want to just ask you one question to see
Okay.
if it still rings true real quick. And I'm sorry for jumping in, but I was in Baton Rouge with Dr. Angelia August, I think it was. And at that
August or July, August.
July, time is flying so fast. But at that time, it was crazy to me. We finally have some solutions that can help us and things like that. And I'm not, and ladies, just so you all know, I'm not pushing anyone to one solution or the other. All I want us to know is that there are options and things
Yes.
around us that will help us to live more comfortably, understand what's happening to our bodies, and be able to actually do some things proactively to just improve our quality of life. Because just real quick on a sidebar, I was in full blown menopause at age 42 and had no idea. I thought I was drinking too much Red Bull. I'm waking up sweats everywhere. I'm doing all this stuff. And if it wasn't for my internal medicine doctor, the OBGYN wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah.
It took my internal medicine doctor who had been treating me and seeing me since I was 18 years old to give me a hormone panel. He told me there's no finite test for menopause, but it's some panel he looked at. And when he saw my hormone levels, he said, kiddo, it's happening. You are, whoa, this is crazy. But when
Mhm.
I was in Baton Rouge and I was talking with Dr. Angelia, she was explaining to me, finally got the hormone replacement therapy pellet option, and men are the number one client. Is that
Yeah.
still true? I was like, what are they get on, can we have anything? I just want them to just sleep.
Literally, the men will tear the doors down trying to get in here. The crazy part is once they get theirs, they bring their women back. It's guaranteed they're bringing the women back.
Hmm.
But with men, okay, so we were talking about the Alzheimer's, right? With us having low testosterone, low estrogen, and all of that. And because the testosterone releases, it converts over into estrogen. Men's estrogen levels are higher than ours when we reach a certain age. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use myself as an example. My estrogen level might be, let's say, 50s, 60s. But that man's estrogen level is going to be 80s, somewhere in there, where it shouldn't be. It should be around 50 or lower, just because we don't want, them having the female symptoms or whatever. But they're producing their estrogen because they still have 300s, 200s, 300s of testosterone. Our testosterone level as a female, by the time we're 50, is less than 20s. Okay. But we need the testosterone, okay, to prevent all cause mortality. That means heart disease. That means colon cancer, all the diseases, hypertension. We need the testosterone as females. We only give a little bit, but we need it as females to, in order to function, because it binds to the receptors just like the estrogen does. And the mother of it all is the progesterone. We end up zero in our progesterone. So every single female should be taking some form of progesterone. Now, to get to the bottom of the Alzheimer's, right? I know everybody on here know that there's some type of memory care, and they're growing like crazy. Memory care, okay? If you have memory care growing like crazy in your community, this is it's showing that most of them are women at that. Like I said, most of them are women, because we don't have that testosterone, that buildup of testosterone to convert over into our estrogen, which is what we need to be replacing. But we end up having all these darn memory care facilities coming up versus preventing Alzheimer's. And my job now, and like I said, it is my passion. I want to be able to reverse the signs of aging. I want to be able to say, hey, it's you're aging. Okay. So you're aging because you have little and low testosterone, basically. All right. So it's not you're aging and you're losing testosterone. You're aging because you have lack of testosterone or lack of hormones. All right. So we work hard to optimize the hormones so we can prevent diseases.
That's
So
pretty great information, because when we think about menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, we think about the traditional symptoms.
mhm.
I'm not thinking about plaques on my brain. I'm not thinking about heart disease. I'm not even connecting those other types of, ailments and diseases with this
Mhm.
process. Miss Regina has a great question in the chat.
That is an awesome question. I was late. I was going there next, Miss Regina. Um, to answer that question, it looked like she asked the question of is the testosterone cause breast cancer or prostate cancer? Which one was it? I don't see the question.
She says, is it safe if you're at risk for breast cancer? Um, hmm.
What is being at risk for breast cancer? I want to ask that question.
Do you have the BRCA gene, Miss Regina? And that's another nugget I'm going to throw you guys as well. There
Yeah.
is a very simple saliva
No.
cancer
Okay.
test that you guys can take. And I didn't know, because my family has a prolific history of cancers. All four of my grandparents were deceased by the time I was 14. Father died from cancer, a multitude of cousins, every type of cancer you name, we didn't have it in my family. And until
Mhm.
my nuclear family, my father passed on, my insurance wouldn't give me this test. It is a simple test where you fill a little tube. It's very gross with saliva,
Yeah.
and FedEx it to a lab, and they go
And
through
they check it.
something markers and see, do you have any of those precursors for any of the different cancers? 20-something-year-old me was so silly because I could have just paid for the test because for what it's worth. But just know that these things are out here, and a lot of our medical professionals aren't taking the time to let us know. If you have a history of cancer already in your family, you qualify for that exam free of charge. Also, for women of color we have dense breast tissue,
Mhm.
Latina, African American, all of us. And there is a secondary breast screening that they give me now, which is
Yeah.
ultrasound. It's easier than the daggone mammogram. I
Right.
don't know why insurance doesn't proactively make this available to every single person with breasts. But guys, talk to your people about this. If it's something that you can qualify for, if you're nervous and things like that, and you want to up the ante and get these extra things for yourself, sometimes you can find a resource in your community, or sometimes we're to a point sometimes where we might have to just pay for it, skip a lobster dinner,
Mhm.
just get the test that we need. But
Right.
that cancer stuff, I mean, yeah. So
Yep. Let me tell you the risk of breast cancer, and this is coming from the breast surgeons and the studies and the guidelines. Risk of breast cancer is having a family member with who's had breast cancer, close relative, and I mean a first degree relative, most likely, obesity, being African American, not working out, eating horrible, and just being black. Okay. Let me just say that those are the number one risks for breast cancer. Okay. But testosterone does not cause, there is no studies, and you can look at the research. There's no studies that says testosterone will cause prostate cancer, nor will it cause breast cancer or even put you at risk. Okay. Same as estrogen. Lack of these particular hormones, you increase your own risk because of cellular turnover. You, or like for instance, we have all these millions and millions of cells in our bodies, right? Hormones is what help those good, you help the cells activate basically and give you the good cells. You can't get a good cell out of a bad, out of something bad going on in your body, like not having enough hormones. Okay, because these hormones are going to bind to the receptors again. All right, and then they're going to produce good hormones, good healthy hormones. All right, or good healthy cells is what I meant to say. But no, I haven't heard or read any research, and I read lots of research when it come down to these hormones. Okay.
that was a really good question. So again, any other questions you guys have, please, please, please ask away. But through the journey, one of the things Dr. Angelia mentioned is when you have things in your body and in your system that actually induce early on menopause. And
Mhm.
one thing that I know, guys, we take this medication stuff way too lightly. One day
Yeah.
I realized I was on hormone therapy for 20 something years. And that sounds huge, but what I'm talking about is birth control. It was
Yeah.
one day something happened. I accidentally ripped off my transepidermal patch, and my body went crazy. And I asked my doctor, I was like, "Is this that strong?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's the strongest form of birth control you can get because it has to go through your skin into your bloodstream." So then I started to think, 30-something-year-old me, this can't be right. I've been on this since I was 16. I'm gonna stop taking it. My body was never right again. Like I'd never had a regular menstrual cycle. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't realize I was going into menopause, because my cycle
Hmm.
would do what it want. It would come, go, stop, start, light,
Yeah.
heavy, so whatever. But we take for granted when we're on different medications and things like that, it is changing the chemistry and the makeup and the outcome of some of the systems in our body. So it's it's just really, really crazy. Like now I'm full blown menopause. I can see it in my face. And it's so funny. We walk around and we say black don't crack. There are signs of menopause where now that I know, and being into skincare, muscle makeup, and all these other parts of health and wellness, I can look at people and tell that their journey has begun. And
Yeah.
they're thinking they're still on a hot girl summer. I'm like, you on a hot girl something, but it might not be summer. But
Yeah.
we know this, we can make proactive changes to our lifestyle, the things that we're eating, the things that we're doing, like Dr. Angelia said, just movement. And also, one big thing, another big thing that we talked about the last time was the impact of menopause on our life and our relationships. Like I've heard a statistic where they said over 70 something% of divorces are attributed to menopause.
Yeah.
This is out of control. And it's something that is happening to every woman just about normally, or as we said, something else may trigger it and accelerate, when it happens and how it happens. So we need to be like acutely aware of it because it definitely changes a lot with your mental capacity, your temperament, sometimes even temporarily your personality, where you do things and you're like, I can't even, who am I? The memory effect. There's so many different things. So yeah, I want to just again open up. If you guys have questions or anything, do not hesitate. It doesn't matter. You know what they say. The only crazy question is the one you didn't ask. And we literally have women online that actually are in this industry, treat the conditions, can give you guys some advices, things you might want to take back to your physician.
Mm-hmm.
Or just research further and find out more. Just real quick, let me introduce Londelia. So Londelia is one of our Bella babes. She actually has a special, quite unique set of skills. So I'll let Londelia introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her and her journey too.
Thanks, Josie. Thanks for holding this forum. This is something I have been trying to get out, scream to the masses for over 20 years. So I am a Tantra practitioner, a clinical sexuality coach, sexologist, and now a body contour. And so my journey started. I am 50. Well, I'll be 52 next week. And my journey started about 23 years ago. When I was 29, I was put into menopause. I had a hysterectomy, and we talk about the signs of menopause, but I'm gonna tell you how I didn't even know I was in menopause. What happened is that I was just feeling, after I had my hysterectomy, I was feeling like really depressed. I couldn't remember things. I was always hot, and I was extremely tired, but couldn't fall asleep. And I would stare at the ceilings for hours before I would fall asleep. And then when I did, I was wakened by a bed of fire because it was just hot. I mean, all the time. When I will give presentations at work, I will just break out in a sweat. And at the time, I had was trying to be really cute and used to have my hair wrapped. And I had a relaxer at the time, and I'm telling you, it looked like it just shriveled up to the point where it was like I have to do something different because I was breaking out in sweats so much. But no one ever told me what was going on. And then I'm not even going to mention, like I said, I was 29. The sex was non-existing. By this time, I had been married for 5 years. Me and my husband were in talks of divorce, and it all came about because I didn't like the way that he was crunching when he was eating chips. It literally took me over the edge where I could have killed him. Like, seriously, that's how bad it was. When I will go and talk to my doctors about it, they were telling me, oh, you're fine. It's just something that, your body goes through. Never once did anyone, for about 6 years, I went through this. I really suffered in silence. I withdrew from everything. And no one ever mentioned the word menopause to me. And so I had to kind of get out of my shell, and things that I love doing. For 6 years, I just really just climbed into a cocoon and just laid in the bed. I went to work. I came home. I didn't engage with my husband. I didn't engage with my kids. It was just, I was in prison within myself. And so that led me on my journey to becoming a Tantra practitioner, because I wanted to find out what can I do. So for you all that don't know about Tantra is it's a meditation modality, and it's based in mind, body, spirit, and sex. And so so part of the meditations were you're aligning your chakras, and then with so it's water, air, earth. So the water is in your head, the earth. I'm sorry, the water's in your head, the air is in your throat, space is the heart, and then the belly is earth, and then fire is your pelvic. And so I did a lot of pelvic meditation, fire meditation, to build that sexual awareness in my body. Because a lot of times with the elements that the 5 elements that the Tantra is rooted in, it's rooted into a 5 element modality. What it does is the antidote to root poisons within your body. And so as you do these 5 element meditations, you're moving stagnant energy throughout your body. And so I became this meditation guru because I needed to, whenever I was breaking into hot flashes, I would do water or air meditations. And then it kind of led me into how can I be better spouse to my husband, because like I said, it got bad where your libido is non-existing. And so I mean, just for him, I mean, he will rub up against me. And, for those who have partners or who are married, that look when it's time, when it's like, okay, it's been long enough. And I would give him a death stare, like, don't even look at me. And so I had to do something because it took over my life. And so that's how I got into becoming a sexologist, because I needed to know what can I do to overcome this. And so that kind of led me to where I am now. I've written a book about flying solo, and it's about learning your body to become a better partner, to learn your body so you can become a better partner sexually, and being able to give instructions in a constructive way, because when you're going through menopause, it is a pain. Sex is painful. Because of the dryness that you experience.
Sorry, I'm gonna jump right in there real quick because it's happening. It's going down over here too. So it's not just the dryness, and I want to talk about that because that's all I ever hear about. Oh, dryness, and then it makes me think back when I hear stupid men say she's old and dry. Baby, dry is the least of your worries. Through menopause, the skin in your entire body thins out. It is not just the skin on your face, ladies. The skin inside of that canal is thinner than a sheet of paper all of a sudden one day. And just so you guys know, it's all these resources. They're hyaluronic acid ampules and things that bring back that plumpness and moistures and elasticity, just like your face is all dry and everything. It's like, I know some of y'all don't even exfoliate and hydrate your skin out here. So I know in that chakra, look, but there are so many resources. I was telling one of my clients, you can go in CVS, even just if you want to keep it real basic, and just walk in there, right there by the condoms. Now there are all these different resources for menopause and things to help with restoring the moisture and all these other things. But it's not just the moisture. It is the thinning of the skin and the walls inside of there. Like, I thought I was like a born again virgin one time. I was like, what just happened? I don't know. But just, okay, so continue. Sorry.
No, I mean, that is absolutely true. There's exercises you can do. And one thing that I actually left out is that not only did I seek out Tantra meditation, I also did bioidentical hormone replacement. That actually saved my marriage, number one. And so now we're celebrating 31 years in December. So and it's so funny because I'm revamping my my book of flying solo, because I wrote that prior to me becoming a Tantra practitioner. And my husband, as I was writing, he came in one day and he said, no, we need a survival guide because you don't know how it is. And we started putting together a survival guide for men to be able to survive, a survival kit for men who deal with women with who going through menopause, because it is from what he has said. It's difficult for us, but it's extremely difficult for them because, like I said, I was going through this. No one ever mentioned the word menopause. And as I'm going through this, I'm not just taking him through it. I'm dragging him through it. And it's very real because you don't know that you're doing it. It's just that you know that all you need to do is just support me. But it's like, how does that look? And so it's weird that it has evolved into this, but being able to use the bioidentical hormone replacement with the estrogen, testosterone, and the progesterone, it is truly a lifesaver for me. There are side effects with that. I know I seen one comment that that mentioned cancer. Before getting on to the bioidentical hormone replacement, I was on Premarin, which was what my my GYN doctor prescribed to me.
Right.
And being that I was 29 at the time, and this was many years ago, like I said, over 20 years ago, because I was 29, I couldn't get a mammogram. And so, but it is known that the Premarin is made from horse urine, which causes breast cancer. And because I didn't have breast cancer, in a history of breast cancer in my family, it was like, oh well, we're not gonna pay for a mammogram. And so a lot of
What's
the
that
things that I've
book?
done, even with the bio.
I think her phone is on off mute. Kalitha.
Even with the bioidentical hormone replacement, I have to pay out of pocket for that because the insurance company says that that's not a medical necessity,
Right.
which is crazy. So we really have to take matters into our own hands. One of the side effects that I have experienced, I know that at one time, because I've been on it for over 20 years, and I told my husband, I was like, I just can't continue to do this. I wanted to try to kind of wean myself off of this because it can be a little costly depending on, where you go. And he's like, oh no, I'll work 2-3 jobs if I have to. You're not getting it. Because our sex life is, when I tell you this, you actually regain who you were.
Yeah.
And the hormone replacement, when you're using pellets, is actually taking you to the optimum level of where you were maybe in your prime.
In your 20s.
When I started with the hormone replacement, I was 35.
Yeah.
And it took me to, in my prime at that time, would have been between the ages of 28 and 30 and 32. And those levels took me there. So he was very, very pleased. We went from honestly 6 months at times, till I couldn't even wait till he got home from work. It was like I'm meeting him at the door. So and that's just after the first pellet was inserted, like maybe 3 or 4 days afterwards. So it is something that that I tried, but it's not for everyone. Also, there are other expenses associated with that because, of course, with testosterone, you're going to have some facial hair. So, or some more facial, more hair in places that wasn't there before. And so being able just to take care of yourself, I do the laser hair removal, facials, all of those things, because even though you're on the hormone replacement, you still have the sagging skin. I mean, you're still aging at a more rapid rate than you were if you wasn't in menopause. And I'm speaking of me being medically induced into menopause and not just going through it naturally.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Londelia, I do want to piggyback on the Premarin and talk about that side of the hormone replacement therapy. So that is literally the progestin. That is progestin, basically. Okay, so that's one of the only hormones, which is totally different from progesterone. That's one of the only ones that research studies back in the day, back in the 1930s, whenever they did them, decided that there was some risk factors of people taking Premarin because that's what they were given back then. So the progestins are the only hormone that showed that there would be some side effects or possible increased risk factors for breast cancer. So just wanted to piggyback on that to let you guys know that progesterone and progestins are two total different things, and we don't give progestins. We replace, these hormones with progesterone.
Yes, because it was I know when I was taking that, it didn't relieve any of my symptoms at all.
Right.
And then
Right.
also, so it is the bioidentical hormone replacement
Yes.
paired with healthy eating habits, because
And
some foods
exercise.
make hot flashes flare up.
Mhm.
And so, all of these things will just kind of work together. And then I got into the body sculpting because as we, going through menopause, we got the spare tire, right around
No.
the waist, and being able to catch that, as we we're going through this. And so being able to kind of put all of these things, all of these elements together so that we can feel better, look better. And my goal is to really look good naked.
Yes. That's
Okay,
nice.
for goals. But so those are some of the telltale signs of just aging, as we talked about. But then when you accelerate it with the effects of menopause, it's crazy because, like Dr. Angelia said, after about 20 something years old, we stop producing all that collagen in our skin. So then we have a net loss. So you're not producing it, you're losing it gradually, but then you hit menopause, the loss is like accelerated. So one day you look up and you're like me with wrinkles on your calves. You know what I mean? So anything that we can do is so many solutions, dry brushing, definitely the dietary things, supplements, upping your skincare regimen. Right now we have like retinols and things like that, even for your body. So you can help to turn over the skin cells and get more new, fresh, supple skin. But a lot of this is about what we put in to our body. And I drink so much Red Bull, it's ridiculous. Don't be me. Just do the stuff I say do.
Yeah. Guys, okay. So she's talking about the Red Bulls, and that's the caffeine, okay? So, I mean, I got a thing about that too. We've talked about that. But caffeine is not natural. Like the body tries to rid it. It doesn't know how to get rid of it. So it's classified as a toxin. And when I talked about the toxins earlier that causes cellular change and bad cells, I'm talking about we have toxins all over. We have chlorine in our water, fluoride, it's all types of toxins that we put in our bodies, from the lotions we put
Even
on our
sugar.
skin. Yes.
Glycolic
Sugar,
effect
don't
of
talk
sugar.
about sugar. Oh my God. That's total inflammation of the entire system. It's when I say it's the all cause disease creator, it introduces so much inflammation in the body to
And did
where
I
it's
tell you what? If you guys ever do a sugar fast,
oh,
like when I had my first round of GLP-1s, which is like semaglutide,
mhm.
so you all know what I'm going to fight this fight to the end of the line. I'm going to do whatever I got to do. I'm like, oh, you got a drug that's going to help me be skinty? Let me get that. But when I went on it for the first time, I couldn't stand sugar. Like all of a sudden, I just didn't need sugar. I didn't need Red Bull. I was just walking around like a normal human.
Mhm.
Once I reintroduced sugar into my system, I could feel it in my muscles. And because that was my normal, I didn't know. But the tension, the inflammation, I literally could feel the stiffness in my body when I reintroduced sugar back into my system. I was like, oh my gosh, why am I sore like this again? Like all of this stuff is accelerated when we talk about menopause, these different aches and pains and adhesions in your tissue. But there are things again that you guys can do. So but
That's
And I
right.
think one of the things that I do now, because like I talked about the spare tire, but then there's also the puffiness in your face. And so I do the lymphatic stimulation every
Yeah.
morning, whether it's my face, whether it's my stomach, arms. Just to get things moving. And I actually pair that with my meditation because, like I mentioned, with the meditation elements, it's the antidote to the root poison in your body that causes illnesses. And so it kind of is kind of the same vehicle as far as the lymphatic system. You're moving stagnant energy and stagnant flow. You want things to be able to flow naturally. And that's where you get rid of the puffy legs, the swollen legs or the puffiness in your face, or even the bloating in your stomach.
Guys, there's several types of we talked about the pellets. Landelia talked about the pellets because she is one that has had the pellets, and there's we have injections. There's all different types of deliveries for hormone replacement therapy, but you definitely have to make sure the delivery is right for you, because we don't want anything that's going to metabolize through the liver. Okay, so the delivery and the molecule has to be right for you. So if you're going to get something, and if you're talking about taking this back to your provider, most I'm just going to say most of the providers that are just primary care does not treat hormone replacement therapy or even optimization. Most of them will look at your labs and say, oh, this is normal, but it's the low normal. Okay, so when we have a low normal, we need to optimize that, and that's going to give us the best health possible and prevent a lot of diseases.
So, Dr. Angelique, can you share with us the type of lab that we should be looking for? Because I cannot believe I didn't prepare myself and do my labs before I came down there to see you. That was just backwards. But what should we, and then also I'm still considering creating a lab here at Black Bella, so we'll have a local resource. So, but tell us more about like what type of labs we should be looking for, and would this be something that we could typically ask an internal medicine doctor for a script for?
Yes. So the type I do, the panel that I do it's a full-blown panel. Like I said, I look at the labs as a whole. For one, the testosterone, your estrogen, and that means 17 beta, all right, estradiol. You want them to, look at that. You want them to look at your progesterone, your pregnenolone, your free T3. Nobody checks a free T3. Everybody wants to check a TSH or a T4. That particular lab doesn't even matter when it's coming down to thyroid optimization or active thyroid. The thyroid hormones regulate every single thing in your body. The receptors are on every cell. So if your free T3 is lower than 4, then you're not optimized. And so I want you guys to pay attention to that, because that can lead into so many different things. And I actually wrote notes on that when it's a metabolism, basically. That particular lab controls the energy, your temperature of the body, the weight control of the body, your bowel movement, the hair growth, skin growth, nail growth, the brain. It tells the brain how fast and how slow to think. So when that's low, then mood, what do you call it? So then you can't think as quick as you want to think. All right. So then you want free T3. You want your testosterone. You want your free testosterone as well. Those are some of the labs that I know that your providers, your regular primary care provider can check. But remember when I said, most of them, I went and got certified in this just because I wanted to learn, how to treat it, because we have it in our clinic all the time. But if you don't know how to treat it, then you're not going to say, hey, I'm going to treat this for you. You don't know how to treat it, and you don't know how to read the labs, so they don't draw them. Okay, so you really want to find a provider that's willing to treat your hormones, the ones that are most important.
And so one other question I had, when I think about pellets, I envision them, and guys, I have not seen a pellet. I know they exist. I was the one who thought that I'm getting hot flashes, so I was burning off a bunch of calories so I could eat the twist tie donut. I was doing it all wrong. But so I noticed Londelia said when I got my first one in, like, are these little implants almost like the birth control implant, or like what is a pellet? Is it a little drop, like a little, like what is it shaped like? What does it look like?
Yeah. So the estrogen is so tiny. It's about the size of, think about a rice grain.
Okay.
Okay. But a rice grain broken into 4 pieces, maybe more than that, right, Londelia? So it's so tiny that estrogen, you're getting, I have a system where I put in all the labs, and then I can calculate what you need, how much you need, and then your testosterone for the women, because we don't put the estrogen in the men, but the test, and it just depends on the situation. Testosterone for the women is it's really small as well, but it's about a little bit bigger than a rice grain. Okay, and you're going into the fat pads of the upper part of your, right below the belt line for the women. For men, we go in the fat pad, love handles is what they call it. But it goes into the fat and it dissolves slowly. Women, it dissolves over a 3-month period, 3 to 4. And for men, it dissolves over a 5 to 6 month period. And because I absolutely love the pellets, because once you reach your levels, like Londelia says, within that first month, your first dose of it, you're going to reach your levels, the optimal levels, and you'll stay at those levels until you get to the very end. And all you're doing is going back in and you're getting your refill. All right. And you stay there. And I had someone tell me today that a doctor told her that once she started the hormone pellets or start any hormones, she would have to be on them forever. You would probably want to be on them forever. That's just like having, once you start eating, like when you're born, you eat. You got to eat forever. So if looking at it like that, if you don't want diseases and all these different diseases, then you would probably want them when your levels are low. If your levels are not low, then you don't need them. But it's good if you're age 40 or above, or if you've had any type of surgeries, you want to get your levels checked to be sure, because we let people go years and years and years without treating their hormones. And by the time it's time to treat, you already have dementia or some form, that's leading into that. You already have heart disease. It's just, it's sad that the taint, the hormones have been tainted the way they've been. But now it's time for us to, really put it out there that, lives can be saved. People can be much happier. Depression, people are thrown on SSRIs. I'm telling you, it's so many people on these depression and anxiety medications when it's really just your hormones off. And all you need to do is correct that. And then I started weaning people off of these medications because they don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
So not telling anybody to quit any of your medications, but definitely get with a profession, a medical profession that has experience with the hormone treatment or hormone replacement therapy, and ask them, can you check these labs? And if they can check them, I mean, hey, let them check them and get treated.
And I think that, and also it's with weight loss too. A lot of people who talk about, eating healthy, working out, but still can't lose weight is because their hormones are not balanced.
Yes. And thyroid.
And then I know for me, I had to also incorporate, and, as Black women, we all should, if we're not in the sun enough, should be taking vitamin D anyway.
Yeah.
But I had to incorporate a lot of vitamins into my regimen, because you're still going through menopause, even though you feel good with the hormone replacement, you're still going through it. It's just it's taking away some of the symptoms and allowing you to really live a better lifestyle, because if you don't have it, it's just downhill from there. But there's also risk of osteoporosis because of your bones being frailed, and then if you do have weight on you, I just learned about this type of obesity that I'm obsessed with now, but I cannot think of the name of it. But it's about being overweight. So you're overweight, but then it also paired with aging. And so, some of the symptoms are, the aches and pains of like your joints and all of that. And it's because your bones are frail, but you have you being obese on top of that. And so, it's just really having the vitamins, doing the hormone replacement, and then also, having that time to be present in the moment, doing breath work, doing meditations throughout the day. There is this certain breath work that I do is called ocean breath. And it's just, it's a breath that you take to let your nervous system know that we're okay and we're safe. And what it does, it calms you completely. I mean, in any, situation that you may have, it instantly just calms you. And so being able to incorporate these things into your lifestyle, and the easiest type of exercise is just walking.
Yes.
And just having 30 minutes outside a day, incorporating that. Or I don't like going outside, so that's why I have to take vitamin D. But I have a walking pad that, doing meetings, I'm on my walking pad. Or, if whatever I'm doing, I make sure that I'm, on that walking pad for a certain amount of, 15, 20 minutes. And I don't like to sweat. So what I do is I do 15 minutes, even if it's just, I get all the way up to 2 hours a day, but I take it into 15-minute increments or 10-minute increments, because and I do the same thing with crunches. So like you can do, and squats, just do brushing my teeth. I'm doing 10 squats while I'm brushing my teeth. And you do that throughout the day. If you get something to drink at the sink, you're doing 10 squats. And before you know it, by the end of the day, you're already up to like 100 or 200 squats, or even crunches. So it's just incorporating those things so that you can live a better fulfilled life and not just exist.
And then also you guys touched on supplements. With the way that our food is produced now, it's very seldom that you can get enough nutrients and supplements from the actual food that we eat. So supplements are something that is like super, 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 super needed. So even if it's just a simple multivitamin, I just started taking magnesium. So
Yes.
yeah,
Glycinate. And if you do magnesium, do glycinate, 80% absorption.
I had a complex magnesium, so it was like 3 different ones.
Don't do it. Glycinate.
Let me write it down.
Magnesium, glycinate, and then for Landelia, if you're doing any type of vitamin D supplement, it needs to be D3, and you need K2 with that to carry the calcium into the bones. Okay, so if you don't want calcium just all throughout the body. Okay, so if you offer or tell somebody to do vitamin D, they need to have K2 to go with that. All right, because it will carry that calcium. That's how they end up with osteoporosis. And the what is it, bisphonate? It's not good, and that's what we are used to prescribing. But vitamin D. Now, Kalitha is on here. She sent me a message. She has a statement. She's a nurse practitioner as well.
Oh, nice.
Kalitha, can you unmute yourself?
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, basically, Angela, you just kind of answered my question when she made the statement about the vitamin D, with adding the other supplement with it. But I also want to share a story or a situation with me. I'm 52, right? Yeah, menopause with all this. So y'all, I really started like forgetting things, right? Like somebody could just been and told me something, and within 5-10 minutes I couldn't remember it. And I started, panicking, stressed out, thinking I'm having early onset Alzheimer's disease. So I'm like, Lord, what is going on? You start self-diagnosing yourself. You start checking this, this is this, this is normal. And something say start back taking your vitamin D and your supplements. You haven't been doing that, Kalitha. And I did it. And that helps out a lot.
Wow.
I was um, concerned about the pellets with the hormones and the estrogen, due to the high high risk
Answer.
breast cancer.
Mhm.
Yes. So that you kind of answered my question about that, Angela. So I may consider, coming and get that done to reduce all these other symptoms that I'm
Yeah.
having. But
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this segment and learning a lot. I mean, I wish you had some notes you can send out
We're going to
on
post the
all
entire
this.
recording and we'll go ahead and caption it. So we'll
Uh-huh.
onto our our YouTube channels, so it'll live there. And then we're not
Okay.
going to stop this. We're going to continue to keep on sharing and expanding. And each time we come as different specialists,
Mm-hmm.
please keep on coming back and sharing and everything too. And to your point with the memory, I'll know something and I know it, but I can't recall it. And
Mm-hmm.
it gets ugly. And sometimes I just have to sit there. Sometimes I just have to go back all the way upstairs and just start all over until I can remember. It's
Yeah.
bad. But just
Yeah.
supplements. Amen.
Mm-hmm. And the sooner we start treating, the better off,
Mm.
like literally. So don't wait. You don't have to get pellets. You can get the patches, you can get the gel or the cream. I just don't recommend estrogen um, tablets. All right. You can get
Okay.
it in any other form, but you do need to know what your levels are.
And that's
And speaking on the multiple thyroid levels, I've been getting a lot of kickbacks from insurance companies. They don't want us testing this for some reason.
Just test free T3 and
Mm-hmm.
optimize that. That is when I have a patient that has gotten stuck with weight loss. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I'm going to go and check to make sure that that thyroid level is good, because we're not looking to see if they need thyroid replacement. We're trying to see if that active thyroid, the thyroid that gives you energy, is going where it's supposed to be going and binding to the receptors. So that's going to be your free T3. Just check that one. And if that's off, then you want to treat them with NP thyroid or arm
Like,
thyroid.
give us an example.
The name of it is NP thyroid.
Okay.
And I start off at 30 milligrams a day. And
Mm-hmm.
my patients come back that has been going through depression, anxiety, and all of that. And they come back feeling amazing. And then these patients that are having the night sweats, or you just having mood changes, you can't sleep, I treat them with progesterone at night. You just gotta, sort of give them, you play with it, because you can start off at 100 milligrams, 200. But I always start, if patients haven't had a period, I always start them off. If they haven't had a period in 10 years, I'll start them off on 200 milligrams. But myself, me being my age, I'll be 51 tomorrow, you guys.
Hey, man, there's a lot of birthdays coming.
Yes, yes, Scorpios.
Yeah.
But yes, I'll start them off, at a lower dosage, but you will feel the difference, guaranteed. That starts correcting other things. It starts helping you out with your estrogen. But the estrogen, testosterone is needed to produce the estrogen. Okay, for the women that has had surgery, or we're just 50 and your testosterone level is less than a 20. You got to have something producing, your estrogen. So if your testosterone is not, if you don't have that, testosterone level is not there, it cannot give you the estrogen that you need, because it can't convert over.
Understood. We have just one last question. We're a teeny bit over time, but I want to make sure we get to it. Miss Phyllis asked the question. She says, if you recently become sexually active after 4 years and experience pain after the first attempt, then less pain after the second attempt. She says her doctor didn't prescribe I guess, any hormones. Should she switch doctors if she refuses? She's currently taking magnesium glycinate, like you said, D3 and K2 for a few years.
Good. So I wouldn't necessarily switch doctors if it's a primary care provider, because we can't teach or give what we don't know. Like I said, I went back and I got certified in this, and that's the reason. Otherwise, I wasn't given hormone therapy a year ago. I would tell the patients, go see your OBGYN. But because I went and got certified, you need to find somebody that is certified or that knows how to treat the hormones. But if your age is appropriate and you know that it's possibly hormone, just ask them to test you. And Londelia might be able to answer your question as far as the oh, yes, I do. It depends. What state are you in?
Maryland, right, Miss Phyllis?
Oh, okay.
That's one other thing I let you ladies know.
It's Kentucky. It just won't let me type a K.
None, Miss Phyllis. And so also I'll let you guys know people do go in to see Dr. Angelia in Baton Rouge, just so you know, and it is a direct flight from the DMV. I'm just saying. So okay.
And
But
you know,
Londelia,
when I did my hormone replacement therapy, I had to go to another doctor. So my primary care doctor and my GYN doctor all said that my levels were fine. And it's because they didn't do the full panel of hormones. And when you do the hormones, like Dr. Angeline was talking about, is that it needs to be the hormones, the testosterone, estrogen, all of that, as well as the thyroid levels. And a lot of the primary care doctors that I've been to, they only, I think it's just T3 and is another one, but it's not the full panel where it will give you a broader range of where you are in your levels. So I had to actually go to a holistic doctor to get all that test done, because with the primary care, they're at a standard, and basically your hormone levels look good, your thyroid levels look good, because it is a standard that they go by. But if you go to an alternative doctor, they will do the full workup and you will know exactly where you fall on the scale.
yes. And that standard that she's talking about is a lab reference, okay? And that's just a guideline to say, hey, we're going to put these numbers out there. But if you look at those numbers and you draw a bell, and that bell, like if those numbers are on the left side of the bells, it's not on the right side of the bells, okay? The bell, if the 50% is in the middle, and then the higher numbers on the end, you want to always be on the right side of that bell. Okay, guys, I appreciate the support.
Yes, and the questions were amazing too. And thank you guys for being here, Dr. Angelia and Londelia and everyone else. And hey, Miss Phyllis. So yes, we're gonna share and post this entire conversation on all of our YouTube channels. So look out for that, please. And also the first session is there, and we are gonna continue to grow on what we're learning. Like we said, just get our glowing paws going, right?
Yeah.
So thank you guys so very much for joining and being here. So I will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.